We can say what we want about EVs, that they lack the soul and the sound and the vibration and noise of internal combustion engines. But one really cool thing about EVs is that when you go from concept to production, you don't really see a lot of changes. What we're gonna do in this video is talk about Kia's new flagship called the EV9. They've just released a couple of spy shots. I want to call it spy shots because they're official Kia shots from their testing facility in South Korea, showing a lightly camouflaged EV9. And I'm going to compare it to the concept because I think it's a really cool comparison. There is barely any changes to the production version. First of all, let's have a look at these gorgeous sketches by the Kia design team. And let's have a look at what's going on and what is the thought by the designers of the Kia EV9. What do they want it to be? Let's start with these really interesting interior sketches. So it looks like they want to have like 3 different type of modes for the interiors. You can see we have the active mode, we have the pause mode, and then we have the enjoy mode right here. So these type of modular layouts in the interior, I don't think we're gonna see this in the production version. I think these type of layouts are maybe 5 or 10 years away to go into production, but it's a really cool concept. I hope I'm wrong. I want to see something like this in production, but I just don't think we're there yet. And I think a lot of it has to do with regulations and how you can actually modify the interiors of production cars today. But you can see that we have the active mode is basically just a regular seating position. Seats are all like we're used to seeing them in a big SUV. And then we have the pause mode where you can flip these seats around 180 degrees and face the passengers. And it looks like you can fold down the center row and have that be a table. Looks like a cup holder here, a pen, a couple of sheets of paper. Maybe the designer is sketching stuff and collaborating inside the EV9. That would be a cool studio to do that in. And then we have the enjoy mode. Let's see what's different here. It looks like the rear end. So you open up the tailgate here and you can just chill out, look at the stars and do whatever you want while you're just chilling back here. Very cool ideas. Looking at the design sketches, I think this is a very architectural design. And I've said this before, this is supposed to be Kia's flagship. And what that means is that we want to have a little bit more restrained styling and more functionality and a lot more horizontal and vertical lines in the design. And as you can see, we have a lot of those features in this design. This looks like a flagship model just by looking at the styling. I love this sketch from this view. Very hard to sketch properly unless I think these are probably based on 3D models, but freehand sketching this type of angle, very hard. I really like the treatment of the surfacing here. You can see we have a chamfer here. This looks like a mix between product design and automotive design all wrapped in one package. What I do like about the side profile is that we have some line flow. We have this going into the hood. You can see this chamfer, as we talked about, going into the greenhouse and then shooting back up here, giving it some forward motion in this design. And we also have this very rugged fenders around the wheels, making it look like it's a capable off-roader in connection with this headlight, which I think is something really unique, some design features that I haven't seen before. And this is a gorgeous sketch of the headlight of the concept. So what I think is going to change here to the production version, I'm going to show you the camouflage production version in just a minute. What I think is going to change here is I don't think we're going to have these LED dots in the design. I might be wrong on that as well, but it looks like we're going to have this bar is still going to be almost intact like we have in the concept. And we're gonna have the headlight being inside of this part right here, similar to what we have here. But I think these headlights are gonna be more pronounced in the concept version. But still, the general layout of the headlight is definitely not going to change. And then we have the taillights as well, not looking very dynamic in my opinion, but that's fine because as I said, this is the flagship model. We don't want to have too much styling in it. We want to separate it from its younger siblings, the Sorento and the Sportage, for example, and have the design be a little bit more grown up. Some might call it a little bit more boring, and I kind of agree with that, but I also think that suits this type of package when you're looking at the size of this thing and that it is supposed to be the flagship model. Looking at the side view, now we're going in to the camouflage model, comparing it to the concept, and have a look at this. There is barely any changes from the concept to the production. Yes, I think these fenders, from what I can tell here, It's maybe a little less pronounced in the bodywork of the production version. I barely see a fender in the front end, but I'm sure it's there. It's just camouflaged really well so you can't see it. But look at this, the headlights here. This is what I'm talking about. I can't see these things going into the production version. They could possibly be covered up by this piece, but it looks like the headlight itself, the headlight unit which sits right here, is a little bigger and emphasized here for functionality in the production version, which is expected. Other changes, we have door handles. If we zoom in, we can clearly see that we have some door handles right here, if we look closely, that are not existing in the concept, and also the side mirrors. Obviously, one of these classic things that you always have to change going from production. We have cameras and stuff, and in the real version, you're gonna have an actual mirror for now. Some companies are actually moving over to cameras, but I don't think the US has approved that yet, which is kind of ridiculous because it's a lot safer to have two cameras and two screens which are on all the time. Totally removes the blind spot. It looks like we have a little change in the lower part, as you can see here. For example, these pieces. In the concept, it has a different shape to it. We have the angle now being here and this part being straight in the front end, but very small details. It still looks like a rugged SUV and pretty capable off-roader in my opinion. Looking at it from a straight front view, here you can clearly see the larger headlights in the production version comparing it to the concept. I do wish that they keep these faded LED lights that goes into the grille like this. I also like that we don't have an opening for the grille in the top part, only for the cooling of the lower part, and that's where all the batteries and motors sit, obviously. So you're gonna have to need some cooling going, some air going in the lower part. We still have that intact, but a little smaller size in the production version. Last but not least, let's have a look at the rear view. There was unfortunately no shots in the camo of the production version from the rear view, so I'm just gonna have to go with the concept here and let you know what I think is gonna change. One thing that's for sure going to change is this lower diffuser here. This looks very concept car-like, and this is something that is definitely going to change for the production version and make it more integrated with the design and not like an aftermarket piece that you just stuck on there in a different color. This is gonna be way more integrated in the production version. The wheels are definitely going to change as well. I'm not a huge fan of these wheels, the design of these wheels. We have a triangle in the middle. It's definitely a unique design. You're probably gonna have some sort of this styling in a production version, although a little dialed down in the styling is my guess. I don't think the taillights is gonna change a lot, because taillights, even though they need to have a function obviously, but they're not as important as the headlights. The headlights are way more important in this functionality than the taillights, so you can play around with the taillights a little bit more, and I think these are actually going to stay pretty much intact in the production version. I guess time will tell. I'm excited to see just how close the production version of the EV9 is going to be to the concept. It's supposed to go on sale at the end of next year here in the US. I think it's probably going to launch earlier in Europe and in South Korea, so it's not long now before we're going to see the final version of it, and it looks like the testing is going well and there's no delays in this product, so I'm hoping to see it fairly soon. Let me know what you think about the EV9. Do you like the styling? Do you think it's too much product design and too little passion in this design, or do you think it's a cool approach to what you can do with a flagship EV? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.